right.
Alright, Pat helps me put my gloves on. Looks me over one last time before we jump in. We got Brad, Andrew, and John standing by. Andrew taking some photos.
Pull the thumb thread out for me.
You hear I'm giving Pat some last minute instructions. Hear a pirate barking in the background. The noise you're hearing is my oxygen getting added to the rebreather. Now doing a last check, make sure there's nothing on the bench, and headed to the back. That helps me hook up the scooter.
That big white one.
Again, barking at him with more instructions before I jump in. This is the first dive of the trip, so this is the tie-in team going in. See Pirate, our mascot. Now we're gonna jump in. Splashed, and we are now in the water. You can see awesome blue Caribbean water out here. On the trigger and heading down the Carolina rig. Doing my final checks here, and boom, heading down. This is further down the line. I caught up to Steve, who jumped in the water before me. Going down on this dive. You can see the water clarity has changed as we got closer to the bottom. And now the wreck is coming into view, and Tom and Joe are already at the anchor line. See the wreck. Now I'm a little closer here, and they are tying in to the wreck, so they're each securing a line from the anchor chain to the wreck, so there's no chance of us pulling out. Alright, so we're tied in, and now we're going to start exploring the wreck. We were tied in on the bow section here, and we're going to make the jump across the break, and one of the guys is going to be running a reel. I forget who was doing that. Looks like it might have been Tom. So I'm going to make the jump here. This is pretty good, so you could do it without the line, but you never know how the viz goes on this wreck. Just kind of hanging out, making sure everybody's good, and getting both video lights fired up. So hopefully be able to capture a little bit better video. As you can see, this is a POV of diving to Andrea Doria, and this is on one of the better viz days. And we're starting to head aft on the ship after the break. See, the viz is not great for this far offshore, this depth. That's Joe in front of me. And if I recall correctly, I think we were looking for something particular here, further back. This opening from a previous trip. Now you can see we kind of went inside a little bit. There's a little bit of overhead above us. And now we're heading inside, going back forward. So what I'm showing Joe here is there's portholes, but they're the inside of the porthole. So the deck plates actually fell, and you could hear cursing, trying to figure out what the hell happened. But we realized that some of the wreck fell out, or sorry, rolled under, and you were seeing the outside of the plates on the inside of the wreck. So this wasn't where we needed to be or we're trying to go. So we're gonna head aft and head out of this little area. We're trying to make sense of what's going on. Again, if you just saw in the back corner there, that's those windows. That's the outside of the ship, but we're on the inside. Now we're back on top of the wreck. Now we're up high and we're still heading aft. See, now these are the windows, the oval windows on this one. We'll get a better shot here in a second, I believe. We're really just trying to orientate ourselves on this first dive back here. Yeah, to figure out where we're at, what rooms we're trying to get into, looking for artifacts. See all the windows right here. It's the very top of the Andrea Doria where it's currently sitting at that point. You see Joe's having a good time. He's cheering. Since we were tying into this is the first dive, I'm pretty sure now we're just heading back. Like I said, we're trying to get the lay of the land. For the Doria, since I've been on it, pretty decent pace. This was some of the framing that came actually off the wreck, and I believe this area is where years later Joe went out and recovered the horn from as you can just see from this footage so far, you know, you're dealing with the depth, distance from shore, and for something offshore like this, I think we have much better viz. See, there's definitely some navigation challenges, and it's not as intact as, you know, the old pictures represent. There's Tom and Steve passing them. Heading back, you can see the blink of the strobes. Put your knee anchor line. You hear Joe humming. That was typical when he had a good dive. Just see two windows here, just kind of looking below the anchor line, quickly seeing what's going on. Sometimes the most overlooked areas is right below where you tie in or around the anchor, because everybody takes off, wants to go somewhere, myself included. I think here I was getting hung up on something repeatedly. Yep. My scooter kept getting hung up, and I was trying to look down into these nooks and crannies. So obviously yelling at it was the way to go. Little tap with the light, try to feel what that was. Doesn't look like it was something of interest. And just hooking the scooter back up. Make sure we're not fouled up on anything. Kind of regain my bearings, see if there's anywhere else we want to explore. At this point, Joe has left the bottom, or he's sitting up top probably waiting for me. We had different bottom time plans, but I'm close to the anchor. It's only right above me. Honestly, not sure what I'm doing. Taking so long here. And we're just kind of, getting a lay of the land. Seeing if there's any other way, places to tuck in. You can see the glow at the top of the wreck. See the other Tom and Steve's lights there off in the distance. Looks like I'm going to go back towards them. You can see all the particulate in the water. Just kind of poke around. Probably right by the break, because that's the reference point there that was off to the left. So I'm in the break now. Looks like where it's starting to break down. The bow to the stern section. Oh, yeah, it's all like a jumbled mess. I was kind of looking for an opening, I believe, or just there's holds here previously where some good stuff was found. A lot on this dive, a lot of metal fell. Kind of covered things up. Again, just kind of looking around, seeing if we can find any good areas. Looks like somebody marked a window. That's what that leash was, that lanyard. Just like I said, poking around in this collapsed area for the last few minutes of the dive. Hoping to find something that will catch my eye. Now I'm back up on the top of the wreck, and you can see the viz always gets better up top here. Also, you can see from the particulate how fast the current's moving. That's why the guys that were swimming were down lower. They're on open circuit using more gas. Being a little deeper, they're not fighting the current. So we're back at the anchor line. My strobes there clipped right off to the tip, so we're gonna recover that. There's the anchor line, and we're gonna secure everything. Start making our way up the line here. And what you're going to see, it looks deceiving as when you come down, and you'll have decent viz on the wreck. Right now you don't see it, but you get a little further, my lights happen to go off. The wreck will kind of come into view, but no, we're going up. Now you can see, still into the wreck, but I'm pretty far off. I'm into the rope section. We're also, the anchor's kind of laying over from the smooth side. Up we go, and we see you got blue water, and you still kind of see the wreck from a distance, probably 40, 50 feet away from it. But it's just much different on the bottom for some reason, it always is. And then, after a long hang, we're still hanging here. This is on the deco station. I'm probably at 15 feet, 20 feet. The other guy's a little bit deeper. And this is what we spend hours doing to make it back to the surface. But you can see awesome blue water. Sometimes we get visited by whales, sometimes sharks, sometimes nothing. Just kind of all zone out, meditate, and look out for each other. Over there you can see Joe's moving from one line to another just to separate. Little blue line bouncing up and down is my John line. Attached to one of the equipment lines and then clipped off to me. That's a dive on the Doria.